Hi everyone. So I actually did like 10 minutes of a review, but I was just completely rambling because I was like painting my nails, whatever. So I'm gonna give like my thoughts on Deadlocked, which is book 11 in the Southern Vampire Mysteries of the Sookie Stackhouse novels by Charlaine Harris. I've read all the books up until now. I've read the is it A Touch of Dead, which is sort of like 5 mini stories together kind of thing between each of the books. And obviously I do watch the HBO show, so I would say I'm pretty, up to date with everything concerning True Blood. I pretty much know. I don't know everything about True Blood, obviously, because I've forgotten things from the earlier books, but I'd say that I'm pretty well qualified to talk about it. So yeah, so I read the first 9 books and I really liked them, and this is where my kind of initial Eric Sookie shipping came from. But as I realised that I really was disliking Sookie in the sort of TV show, because I just thought she was obnoxious and she just felt self-entitled for no real reason, I kind of started to go off the Eric and Sookie pairing. I think it was in the last book that I really started to feel very uncomfortable with the pairing, and then I watched season 4 and I hated season 4. I just do not like Eric and Sookie together at all, really. After it's not because I'm one of these petty girls who's like, oh yeah, I want Eric all to myself. I'm gonna kill Anna Paquin, whatever. It's not like that at all. I think that's pathetic. I just do not think that either of them make a good couple. They've got nothing in common. They just argue all the time. And it was kind of weird. I mean, in the other books, when Eric came into the room, Sookie was like, oh, I hate this guy. I hate looking at him. It makes me feel sick. And even in the TV show, he was like, oh, maybe I'll grow on you. She's like, oh, I prefer cancer. Well, if you say that to someone, obviously it's you don't like them. And I was just watching season 4 and thinking, honestly, I understand that there was season 3 and everything like that, and the tail end of season 2, but I just disliked how Sookie really just took advantage of the amnesia Eric and basically made him feel really crap about himself. It was like she was preying on the weak there, and I feel honestly, having realised that, and then looking back at Dead Reckoning, which was book 11 from last year, and having read Deadlocked, which is book 12 from this year, I just feel that Sookie is a bully, and I think she's a victimizer, and I think she feels self-entitled and righteous for no real reason whatsoever. I mean, virtually every single character, mostly female, who she ever comes across, she makes some sort of judgment about them. But what really irritates me, particularly in this book, is that Sookie is justified. Sookie is made to appear perfect and kind and true and honest. And even when Freda says, "Oh, you're not arrogant," or this, that, and the other, I was thinking, "Oh my, yes, she is arrogant." It just seems that Charlaine Harris enables this behaviour because she doesn't seem to understand that Sookie is like one of the worst female characters in the sort of vampire genre. Honestly, I think she's a lot worse than Bella Swan. People really hate Bella Swan because she whines, because she goes on about Edward all the time. But honestly, I'd rather read about that, a girl who is, yeah, okay, she's a teenager, she's a bit of a bitch to her friends, but it's a sort of first love thing. Whereas Sookie, you would have thought over several years, over 12 books, she would have grown a bit. She would have realised that, hey, maybe life isn't a competition with other women. Maybe I should stop judging everyone. She doesn't get it. She really doesn't get it. And she just continues. And she even acknowledges at one point when she looks at the pictures of this dead girl's parents in the newspapers. And then it was just, she says, oh, I know it's really snotty of me, but they don't look like much. Like, honestly, that is so, like, rude. Someone has died, their daughter is dead, and all you're concerned about doing is saying, oh, they look poor, they look like trash. What's that got to do with anything? That is just so, disgusting behaviour, and it gets to me. Really irritates me. And then, obviously, because I had this mindset that Sookie is a bully, when I was reading the book, I was kind of, like, more biased towards really disliking her, and I felt that I disliked her so much more because, one, not a lot happens in the book, so most of the time it's just irrelevant crap, like making dinner for people, going to watch strip shows, meeting like random ass characters who, you know, aren't even relevant to the story at all anymore. They just mention just so you don't forget that they exist, because obviously she made such a big deal in the other books and never went anywhere with them, so she doesn't want to waste her time like just completely getting rid of them or whatever. And you just have all this useless content filler stuff. Like 75% of the book is completely just blank, boring, and bland, and nothing happens in like 327 pages or whatever it is. That when anything does happen, Sookie's got something to say about it. And the things that annoy me is that Sookie seems to have the most to say about female characters who've done nothing to her, nothing whatsoever to her. For example, right in the beginning, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember reading it and being really irritated by it. It was about Jace's girlfriend Michelle, and Sookie made a kind of nasty internal comment or a snide comment or something like that. I was thinking, really, really, Sookie, if you just think you're so much better than everybody in the freaking world, especially all your girlfriends, why do you hang out with them? Oh yeah, because you wouldn't have any friends otherwise, because you just seem to think it's perfectly fine to just completely bitch and rant and moan about everyone who, you know, is potentially an attractive female who might, you know, steal away a man who you think you're completely entitled to. This is what irritates me. Yes, anyway, she was she made a comment about Michelle, and then there was a waitress who's part Fae, and she was Fae. The waitress, obviously, because there were humans in the club, they have to disguise themselves with magic to look human. And Sookie, because she's got fairy blood, she can see past that. But the waitress was nice to her. She was very welcoming towards her. She called her sister and everything like that. And then Sookie just made a comment. She made an internal comment saying, oh, I can see past her cute blonde exterior. Her skin is pale green, blah, blah, blah. I understand that it was meant to be a description, but the way it came off was so, like, bitchy. It's like, really, this waitress has been really nice to you. And later in the book, she's really nice to you. Even though, yeah, she did cause a car crash, but she pulled you back out of it and kind of gave you a hug, whatever. All you have to say, you don't have anything valuable to say apart from the fact that she's ugly. I was like, really, Sookie, you're so freaking superficial. And you make yourself out to be bookish and intelligent and blah, blah, blah. And really, all you have to say is just how ugly women are and how stupid they are. It's like, you really need, like, to stop judging people. Because you're not, like, because unlike Bella Swan, you're not 17 years old. You're, like, what, 28 now or something like that. And then, of course, she makes other snide comments about, Terry's new girlfriend, Jimmy. They meet at the post office for whatever reason, and she's like, oh, she's got crooked teeth. Why is that relevant? Why, you don't make any snide comments about Terry, do you? Who isn't exactly the most attractive person in the world. And then she, of course, she has this whole massive thing about Charlaine, and this is what really irritated me. Last book, Charlaine basically saved her life, I think, at the end of the book, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. Even though Charlaine might not have liked Sookie, honestly, I don't blame Charlaine at all. Sookie is just a pretentious bitch, and I wouldn't like her either. Charlaine saves a life, and that's no small thing. It's a big thing to save somebody's life. Even though it's happened a lot in this series, it's still a massive thing. But I thought, you know what, because Charlaine's a female character now, I bet she's going to be an enemy this book. And guess what she was? She was such an enemy in this book. And you know why? Because Charlaine Harris didn't ever want Sookie to be, you know, in the wrong. She didn't want it to be seen as snotty and, you know, imperfect. She wanted it to be the good girl who was right in every single way. It irritated me. And then, before this whole revelation that Charlaine was the one who was doing all this bad stuff, Sookie was saying, oh, she's a bitch, she's this, that, and that. It's like, really, Sookie? Have you just completely forgotten about what she did for you? Are you really just going to forget because you just hate her so much because she's dating Sam? Like, no offense, Sookie, but her relationship with Sam is nothing to do with you. It's not your relationship, so get your nose out of it. That is just simple as. And I don't know, it just really got to me. So I really hate Sookie as a character. She's much more bearable in the TV show. Probably more this season because she's not got that much screen time as opposed to the other, like, 4 seasons. And in a way that's kind of good. But in a way, it gives more screen time to smaller, more irrelevant characters. But whatever, I'm not going to get into the TV show. It's not about that. Though you can, of course, watch my True Blood reviews. I've got episode 1 to 9 so far. Yeah, the writing in this book was really poor. There were some like really stupid random moments where they would just pick on the most trivial thing, like they'd have a scene and then they had like really unnatural, childish fanfiction dialogue. I can't really remember exactly what it was, but like Sookie, I think she saw Eric feeding on Kim, or who also, by the way, Kim was trailer trash, so therefore Sookie was automatically in a more elevated place than she was, and I was like, oh, whatever, I'm so done with this girl. Anyway, yeah, so Eric was like feeding on this girl for whatever was pleasuring herself, and then Sookie was like, oh, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, she did have a right to be irritated, because you would be irritated, but it was like, you'd think, considering the pacing of the other books, that she'd get over it fairly quickly, and that they'd talk about it in a more kind of civilized manner, but it was just like really weird dialogue, like, oh, and Pam came in, she was like, he wouldn't cheat on you, you know. You know what, this isn't about that. It's like, why do you have to write that? I don't care. And it just, this whole thing, like, there wasn't much of Eric and Sookie in this book. You could tell they were breaking apart. I really didn't give a shit. I didn't like Eric in this book. You know why? Because he wasn't charming in any way whatsoever. I want him to go with the Queen of Oklahoma. I want him to get to do what he has always done. I want him to be a powerful leader. I want him to, like, excel. Because he's always been this strong and powerful Viking, and that's who his character is, and that is why so many people like him. Yeah, he's an asshole, but he's a great character for the most part. And honestly, I think he would do so much better as a character going up with Frida. So honestly, when Frida was at the house, I was just thinking, you know what? I was thinking, so I could just let him go. You doubt the way you feel about him. You doubt the way he feels about you, and then you have like, Eric's got all his vampire business, and then you're like, oh, why is he not phoning me? Blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you should phone him. Why should it always have to be, like, making the effort to check up on you time and time again because you're too stubborn and childish to fix your relationship? Obviously, there's problems here, so why don't you just sit down like a grown-up and talk to him about it? And yeah, even if he is going to be stubborn and treat you like an arsehole, say, you know what, Eric? Fuck off. We're going to talk about this. And I'm sorry for using the language, but it just got to me. So I wasn't interested at all in that relationship. I just feel that Charlaine was, obviously having seen the way that the other seasons played out with the sort of Sookie-Eric relationship, she wanted to capitalise more on it, and I just think it did not work at all. So yeah, I was just not impressed with the whole Sookie-Eric thing. That was it, pretty much. Like, literally nothing happened in this book, nothing at all. The fairies are gone, good, don't give a crap about them. The whole Claude storyline, which obviously he's like the mastermind behind this whole plan, didn't really care, didn't find it clever, did not find Claude charming whatsoever. It might have been like a shock and a horror and oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened, if Claude had been even remotely likeable. But it was weird because she was, interesting, she was kind of saying, Claude's an asshole, but then, Claude's really nice, or Claude this, that, and the other. It's like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can have a complex character, but don't tell the reader that he's a dick, and then 1 minute say, oh, he's really nice to Sookie. Just gives mixed messages, and I was just so not intrigued by Claude at all. I did not care about what he was or wasn't, didn't care about the whole mastermind plan, didn't care about Alcide or Charlaine, this whole thing mixed in. I did not give a crap. And of course we have the cluvial door, which was finally used. Eric, I kind of feel like he was like, yeah, I want you to get me out of this. And Sookie was right, she was saying, you know what, why don't you get yourself out of it? But I think it was kind of a bit more complex than that, that she kind of wanted to really admit. And of course she saved Sam's life, and I just think this was kind of a deus ex machina to get rid of the whole cluvial door thing. I had to kind of canonify Sam and Sookie for the last book, and the next book, which I think is coming out next year or whatever, is going to be the last book in the series. So yeah, I'm going to read it. I'm probably going to like download a PDF because I'm not paying like £10 for a shitty book. No way. I think they're going to be end canon, and after that I'm glad to see the back of this series because I think it's just transformed. It's just become something completely different than what it used to be. It's just petty and irrelevant. I do not like Sookie at all. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you whenever.